If you're one of those people sitting on the sidelines debating whether to get into the market, in fact, if you're one of the people that falls into this category that are saying if we retest this, if we break out above that, if we hold this, the market has a very strong message for you. You can see the message right here in the charts. This little dip and correction should be the only signal that you need, or the only message that you need from the market. And for those of you who can't read this signal, what the market is telling you is very simple. The market is saying, brother, stop procrastinating, just buy the fucking coins. And the way I see it is, you don't need to complicate it. You need to keep it really, really, really simple now if you want to make money. You just need to buy these altcoins. I'm going to show you exactly which altcoins you need to be buying. So listen, today is the last chance for you to get in. And I'll show you why I think it's really, really, really the last chance to get into crypto before the most violent part of the bull market. So lots to talk about, guys. Let's go. I'm back, mofos. I'm back. I know some of you missed me yesterday. It was a crazy day yesterday. Crazy. I mean, I'll tell you a very crazy story. So I told Jason Derulo that his coin is a piece of shit and that celebrities shouldn't come into crypto. And he said, bro, help me. And I said, oh, well, if you want help, come to South Africa. Next thing I know, he's here with 5 of his people. And I basically spent the whole day with him trying to talk to him about how to actually launch one of these coins. You'll know a lot more about that. You'll know a lot more about that in the next couple of days. In the meantime, today we've got to talk about the last chance to buy crypto. And let me tell you, it really is your last chance today. If you can't see in this chart over here, if you don't understand what happened over here, which is what I'm going to talk to you about now. If you don't understand exactly what happened here, then you don't know why it's your last chance to buy crypto. And I'm going to show you today that not only is it your last chance, but you actually just need to keep it simple. You just need to keep it simple. So we've got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to try and get through it as quickly as possible so I can give you the highest alpha per minute shows in the fucking world. All you need to do is you need to smash the like button. And if you're not already subscribed, well, you're not part of the 959,819 people that are subscribed to the channel. The best community in the world, really the best community in the world. So listen, subscribe to the channel, not only because I said so, but because we have the real Gsmy in studio. This is the real Gsmy. It's a real Gsmy. This is like real fucking Gsmy. We got it from a fan from Romania. That's real fucking Gsmy. It's stuck to, you see, it's food. It's stuck to a plate. It smells like a cherry. All right, so listen, highest alpha per minute show starts in about 6 seconds. So I'm going to give you 6 more seconds, 5 more seconds to like this content. Then we're going to start the highest alpha per minute show in the world. Then you're going to tell me whether it was indeed the highest alpha per minute show. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. Let's get into the alpha of the show today. So as I said before, if you are sitting on the sidelines, be very, very, very careful because the market has actually given you a signal here, a very, very, very strong message. And the message is very simple. Stop procrastinating. This is your last chance. I do see people still sitting on the side saying, if we retest this level, if we go down and then we retest and we break up above the 200-day and the 42-day and the 1-day moving average. No. This is not the time for that. This is the time to stop that bullshit, to stop all the procrastination, and to actually just buy the fucking coins. That's what this tweet over here says. It says, brother, stop procrastinating. Just buy the fucking coins. That is where we're at in the market cycle. And I'll show you where we are now. You will remember that when Bitcoin hit 53,000, I said we are at a bottom or near a bottom. And since then, the sentiment has changed. In fact, the entire market has changed. Just look at the sentiment here. We went from 27 on the day when I tweeted that to 65. The entire sentiment of the market has changed. And in fact, as I said to you, the market has given us a little indicator over here that this might be the last chance for everyone to get in before the crazy part of the bull market. Now, for those of you who are new to this class or who haven't taken my classes before, when we talk about the last crazy part of the bull market, it does look something like this. Okay, it does look something like this. And when there are people that say things like, let me try and find for you. When there are people that say things like this, where they say the market could double in a month or so, that's not an exaggeration. I know it feels like an exaggeration, but the reality is when you look at it with this lens on and you say, just look at the time of sideways chop versus the time to the top, we could be getting into that. And I'll show you what changed in just the last week. Because last week when we were here, people were calling for the end of crypto. People were calling for the market to go down. People were calling for a sideways summer. And do you remember what I said about the sideways summer? I said, don't fall into the trap of a sideways summer. Because if you fall into the trap of a sideways summer, which is what everybody else is talking about, you miss the potential opportunities that can arise because of it. And that's exactly what happened. When everybody factored in a sideways summer, the market shocked everybody. And what did the market do? It showed us that there's not going to be a sideways summer. It's going to be an explosion. And the explosion starts now. You have today, maybe tomorrow, maybe a few more days to get in, but that's the end. If you're not in by then we'll catch you in the next bull market, which is scheduled for, when's the next halving, Josh? It's 2024, 2028. So we'll catch you again in 2027 for the next market. So let's quickly look at what changed, what happened, what actually happened, what actually changed between last week when the sentiment was here, 27, and this week or today when the sentiment is at 65. How did we get such a big surge? So let me remind you that last week when we were here, people didn't know who the US president was going to be. They thought that it could be Trump, but then again, it could have been Biden, but then again, it could have been Trump. Now, we absolutely fucking know who's the next president of the United States. I mean, it's got to be this guy who arrived at the Republican National Congress yesterday like fucking Rocky Balboa walking up to a boxing match. And the poly markets are now telling us, there's a 72% chance that Biden is out and that Trump is in, 72% chance. Now, Trump, I mean, the whole nation has now united against him. And he's come out like an amazing fucking fighter, even though he was shot in the ear. I don't know if you saw this interview with him after being shot.
You can take my ears, but you cannot take my liberty. They want to cut off my ears like the Taliban, but what they don't know is my ears can grow back like SpongeBob through budding, by the way. Hit me with your best shot, why don't you? Because if that's the best you got, you're a loser. You're such a loser, you missed so bigly, by the way. You had a big opportunity. You could have made my head blow up on TV, but you didn't do that, did you? Now my ear is going to grow back bigger and better. It will have better hearing. I will hear like an owl.
I mean, he came out and he is triumphant, and the whole of the United States is now completely behind one candidate. I haven't seen anything like that. And this candidate is fully behind crypto and fully behind Bitcoin. In fact, one day after he got shot, he said, look, I'm going to be at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville, and he's going to be speaking there. Now, for those of you who want to join us there, we're going to be there. There is a link below. To get tickets for the actual candidate is
hold on, let me
fully
get you
behind crypto and fully behind Bitcoin. In fact, one day after he got shot, he said,
there is a link below if you want to join us and get tickets to the Bitcoin conference, which we're going to be at. Join us here. Also, if you are part of our Discord group, if you are part of Frontrunners, look out for the dinner invitation. There'll be a limited dinner for people who are coming to Nashville, for all of us to hang out, all the Frontrunners to hang out. So as I said, you've got a president that's pro-crypto. But that's not where it ends. That's not the only thing that actually changed, right? That's not the only thing that actually changed. So he has now appointed his vice president. His vice president, J.D. Vance, someone that we haven't really been speaking much about. But what do we actually know about J.D. Vance? The first thing we know about J.D. Vance is that he owns Bitcoin. He's disclosed that he owns up to $250,000 worth of Bitcoin. Number two that we know about him is he voted to repeal SAB 121, which is the bill that Biden was going to veto. The third thing about him is we know that he actually dislikes 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗕𝗓 as much as we dislike 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗕𝗓. Just listen to what he said.
If there's a candidate for worst person, in my view, at least in terms of my substantive disagreements, I'm sure he's like a nice guy, is 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗕𝗓. Okay, so 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 is sort of the complete opposite of my view. And there are two problems that I have with Gary. One of which is that I think he wants to inject politics way too much into the actual business of securities in the United States of America. But in some ways, the more fundamental issue, or at least the most relevant issue for this particular conference is the approach that Gary has taken to regulating blockchain and crypto seems to be almost the exact opposite of what it should be.
So he hates Gary Gensler as much as we hate Gary Gensler. So now you've got the Trump trade, you've got America United behind trade, and everybody's going crazy around the fact that Trump is coming in. And it's not only Bitcoin, because Trump's not only good for Bitcoin. Trump is good for markets. Trump is good for capitalism. Trump is good for small cap alts. Trump is good for interest rates coming down quickly. Trump would put a lot of pressure on Jerome Powell to make sure that Jerome Powell actually reduces interest rates. Trump is bullish for financials. He's bullish for small caps. He's bullish for renewable energy. Trump is good for markets. He was good for markets the last time he came in, and he's good for markets now. And now, for the first time, what I'm seeing a whole lot of the highest, most influential, most entrepreneurial, most capitalist Americans all voting for, or all uniting behind Trump. I don't think I've seen the United States this united. I mean, this tweet says people are just casually walking around San Francisco, which is traditionally the most blue of blue states, with Trump hats. Something has actually changed. So that's the first thing that changed since last week, when the sentiment was at 27. And helped us get the sentiment back to 65. But that's not the only thing that changed. I'll show you something else that changed. Another thing that changed is that Powell came out and he basically spoke about reducing interest rates. And what he said was, he said something along the lines of, if the Fed waits for inflation to get to 2% to cut it, they've waited for too long. And what he was looking for was, he was looking for a decrease in the inflation. And you'll remember that we had 3 consecutive inflation drops when it came to inflation. I'll show you that chart over here. So it's this chart over here. Now you'll remember that we had 3 inflation drops. We went from 3.5 to 3.4 to 3.3 to 3. So what Powell came out and said after that is, he basically said, look, he said, Powell says that the last 3 inflation readings add confidence that inflation is falling. He's opening the door to rate cuts. And so now the market is starting to price in either 1, 2, or get this, maybe even 3 rate cuts before the end of the year. So you're going to get a pro-markets, pro-crypto president coming into the White House, with a pro-markets, pro-crypto vice president coming into the White House, a guy who hates Gary Gensler. Then you're going to have a rate reduction cycle and an increased liquidity cycle actually hitting the market. So you're going to get rates being reduced and liquidity starting to increase. That means that you're going to get a rampant market going on at the moment. Now, remember, when it comes to crypto, we've been what's the word I'm looking for? That we've been suppressed for a long time. We were suppressed for a whole lot of days over here because Germany was offloading their $2 or $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. And now they're completely offloaded. There's only $422 left, right? And I mean, if you actually look at the maths behind their trade, with Bitcoin back at 63,000, they have lost already. I mean, they've lost $250 million. Now, I don't know how hard it is for Germany to collect $250 million worth of tax revenue or whatever else, but they could have just held their Bitcoin. And that's what nations are going to start realizing. Anyway, going back to it, the charts are showing you that we were suppressed. The price of Bitcoin was suppressed because the German government was actually selling its Bitcoin, but now their selling is finished. And what we saw here is that as soon as the selling finished, the price of Bitcoin went up to 65,000. Now that was a little bit of exuberance. That was a little bit of people taking leverage positions, getting a little bit too cocky, a little bit too comfortable with this market. And then we had a rejection here, and we had this big red candle over here. And this is where I think you might actually be getting not your last chance, but your last chance to actually buy Bitcoin. Because what happened here? What happened when we got to 65,000? As soon as we got to 65,000, we got another announcement. And this time, we got an announcement that the Mt. Gox trustees had started to move some Bitcoin around. But this time, they actually are moving a whole lot of Bitcoin around. So they moved a whole lot of Bitcoin around. And then Kraken, which is one of the distribution exchanges for the Mt. Gox trustees, they sent a mail to their people that said, we have successfully received creditor funds, BTC and BCH, from Mt. Gox trustee. While we work to distribute the funds as quickly as possible, please anticipate 7 to 14 days for funds to be credited to your account. The amount you will receive is what has been determined by the trustee, and we will distribute according to the instructions. So what this little kink in the market is telling you, it's telling you that you have one last chance, because you have one last chance of these overhang coins from the past, which is going to keep the price slightly down. Problem is, even though that this position is 3 times the size of the German government's position, even though it's that much, this time it can't keep the price down. And you can see that's why Bitcoin is now at 64,000. Because the market now knows that even though Mt. Gox is sending out the Bitcoin, a lot of those Bitcoin ain't going to be sold. And because a lot of those Bitcoin ain't going to be sold, the selling pressure on the market is not going to be as heavy as before. But what the market also knows is that the ETFs just absorb all the selling. We've now got the data from Germany and how quickly the German coins were actually absorbed. And so the market's saying, look, I mean, I actually hope that you haven't missed your last chance. You're not going to get these levels again. You've missed that because now the market's saying, look, we don't really care about the Mt. Gox selling. It's going to be absorbed by the ETFs. We're not scared of it. You think that Mt. Gox is 3 to 4 times, the initial Mt. Gox distribution is 3 times what Germany had, and now the market's shrugging off those pressures. So the market is giving you a message. The message is very, 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 very clear. And the message goes something like this, right? It goes something like, if you are sitting on the sidelines, the market is telling you, this is your last chance to get into the market before we get into parabolic stages, before we get into this crazy time over here. The market is telling you, pay close attention, because the next time you look at the market, we could be in this kind of parabolic rise. If you wait now, you are fighting a very different tide. What is the tide that you're fighting? Or you're fighting a bunch of tides. The first thing that you're fighting, if you wait now, is you're fighting Trump getting into the White House.
It will have better hearing.
You are fighting Trump getting into the White House. You're fighting the Fed. You're fighting the Fed reducing rates. You're fighting the Fed potentially reducing rates 2 or 3 times this year. I mean, look at what's going on here. Now, there's 1 rate cut, 2 rate cuts, and maybe even a 3rd rate cut that's priced in. Because remember, by this time, Trump's in the White House. So you got Trump coming in. You got an increased liquidity cycle. You got Trump potentially in the White House. But then on top of that, you have the catch-up trade. Because of the Germany coins and all the overhang and everything else, because of all of that, you had Bitcoin and NASDAQ completely separate. So if you don't buy now, and we get Trump in the White House, and we get the rate cuts, and then we start catching up the catch-up trade here, then as Elio says, crypto is very much lagging other indices and has a lot of catching up to. So you're going to miss the catch-up trade. Then you've got the Ethereum ETF that you're fighting against. And if you put it all together, we could be in for a huge upward capitulation momentum, which has been coiling with multiple positive catalysts to come for the rest of the year. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be on the other side of that. And let me tell you something. Having been here before and seen this in the market and seen these violent moves. I mean, this whole move here was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. This was 10 weeks. Okay. I've been here before when this happens. And when Suzu says that the market could double in a month or so, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. If it's not a month, it's 2 months. If it's not 2 months, it's 3 months. But the market could double in a month or 2 months or 3 months. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of that. So the message is very, very clear. The message is very simple. Stop procrastinating. Stop with if we retest this, if we break that, if we get a hold. Who gives a shit? Brother, just go out there and buy the fucking coins. Okay, now let me tell you what I mean by go out there and buy the fucking coins. Right now, there's no need to be smart. I mean, I went into Frontrunners this morning. I went into our Discord, which is Frontrunners, and I said to the guys, look guys, I'm long. I said I deployed again last night. You can't go wrong with quality. Don't look for small coins. Don't look for small alts. There's enough value in the big alts, and I gave them a list of all the stuff that I actually bought. By the way, if you want to be in Frontrunners, you can join us. It's our Discord. You can't get in now, unfortunately, but you can join the waiting list, and we will let in 100 people. I'm not sure when we'll let them in. Use that link. Honestly, join Frontrunners. If you're unhappy, pop me a DM. I'll refund you your money. Okay, I'll refund you the money. If you're unhappy in Frontrunners, just pop me a DM. Sign up with that link. If someone leaves, at least you can get in. This is where we drop all our alpha. This is where the guys get all the information live. We're also doing a whole lot of meetups. Like I said, we're doing a meetup in Nashville. We're doing a meetup in Singapore. We're doing a poker tournament, actually, a frontrunners virtual poker tournament. I think it's happening sometime next week. We're hanging out this Sunday. We're hanging out as a collective on a Zoom call, just sharing ideas. So, guys, get in there. And when I say get in there, get into frontrunners, get into the market. Get into the market now before it's too late. You don't want to be fighting the tide of Trump in the office, increased liquidity, an ETH ETF, a catch-up trade. You don't want to be fighting that tide. If you land up fighting that tide, yeah, we'll see in 2027 for the next run-up to the next bull market. All right, so as I said in frontrunners, keep it simple, guys. There's no need to try and be too clever. Right now, the obvious trade is the easiest trade. You want to make sure that you're not exposing yourself to too much unnecessary risk. You don't want to be exposed to too much unnecessary risk. So right now, just bet on the simple things that are going to make you a lot of money. You don't need to go, you don't need to put, we're not at the part of the bull market where you need to put your hat on and your torch and your magnifying glass to go and look for shit like that. You don't need that. Just keep it fucking plain and simple, and I promise you that is how you're going to end up making and keeping a lot of money in the bull market. Now, when I say to you, keep it plain and keep it simple, it's exactly what I said to the guys in frontrunners. It's so simple. Don't look for too much stuff in the small alts. Just look for the narratives that you want. And you can see I opened up a whole lot of trades. I opened up a Stacks trade, an 𝗬𝗓𝗕𝗓 trade, a thing. And also, in fact, let's just go through how to keep it simple, because I think that's what most people are struggling with. If you're sitting on the sidelines and you're procrastinating, get in and just keep it as simple as this. This is exactly what I'd be doing right now. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to have some kind of exposure to Bitcoin, right? You can't not have exposure to Bitcoin in this market. Why? Because, you know, like when Larry Fink, who's probably the biggest titan in the world today, the biggest fund manager in the world, managing the biggest asset manager in the world, when he comes out on national television and says this about Bitcoin.
I was a skeptic. I was a proud skeptic. I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else.
When the leader of the biggest asset manager in the world comes out, you got to have exposure to Bitcoin. But I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking to yourself, hold on a second. I don't really want exposure to Bitcoin. That's not going to make me life-changing money. And I agree with you. And that's why I didn't actually buy more Bitcoin. I could have bought more Bitcoin, but I actually thought, why should I buy Bitcoin when I can buy leverage Bitcoin? And when I say leverage Bitcoin, I'm not buying Bitcoin on leverage, even though you can buy Bitcoin on leverage. I'm not buying Bitcoin on leverage. I'm actually doing something completely different. What I'm doing is I'm buying stacks. Why? Because I have done the research. I know that when Bitcoin goes up 74%, stacks goes up 160%. When Bitcoin goes down 27%, stacks goes up 67%. When Bitcoin goes up 18%, stack goes up 45%. I know that stacks is a leverage play on Bitcoin. It's a Bitcoin layer 2. It makes Bitcoin smart contract ready and transaction ready. So for me, when I see this kind of behavior in the market, I want to get Bitcoin exposure. What do? I get stacks exposure. Later on in the year, we're going to talk about BitLayer. The token hasn't launched yet, so not much that you can buy. But for now, just get your hands onto some stacks. It's like such an easy trade. What you're doing is you're effectively buying leverage trade on Bitcoin. The next thing that I'd be buying is ETH. I mean, come on, guys. The ETF is going to be approved. We are hearing that the ETF is going to be approved sometime around next week. So they're talking about next week, 23rd. They're talking about the ETH ETF being approved. Okay, you want to tell me you don't want to be in ETH when the ETF is approved? You want to tell me, I mean, as 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗧 says, as we approach ETH ETF season, the thing to question is not whether flows will match the BTC flows on an absolute basis, but rather on a liquidity and network adjusted value. Now, what he means here is ETH has a lower market cap than Bitcoin. But on top of that, a lot of ETH is actually staked. A ton of ETH is actually staked. And so the thing is, because a lot of ETH is actually staked, 40% of ETH is locked in staking and smart contracts. It means that less buying of ETH is going to push the price up. And as 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 says, he says, here it is, he says, Bitcoin went up 3x in the lead up to the ETF. ETH has gone up 0. The market simply has no idea how to price this. And if you know, you know. Don't get caught behind on the ETH ETF rate. It's such a simple, basic, risk-adjusted trade. So I'm going into stacks. I'm going into ETH. I'm going into Sol. you can't discount SOL. It's the fastest and most used L1 on the market. You discount SOL, you do so at your own risk. I'm trying to show you that the formula now is simple. Don't look for, okay, what are the SOL derivatives and the derivative of the derivative of the derivative? Just keep it simple. Another one, go for a good layer one that you think is going to maybe outperform. You can go for Sui, you can go for Aptos. I didn't go for Aptos, I went for Sui. Then go for Arweave. Why go for Arweave? The traction on Arweave is absolutely crazy. Did you know that they now have about 15% of the number of pages on the internet indexed on Arweave? Okay, just keep it simple. Just buying Arweave today. Let's quickly look at the price, 27, 28 bucks. Let's quickly look at it here. Okay, so Arweave is $28. You know this thing's going to $80. So why are you procrastinating? Just buy it now. Maybe it'll go back down to 25. Who cares? Just buy it now, hold it. Then, I mean, you got to have an AI play. It's up to you whether you got balls or big balls. So if you got balls, just put your money into Near. If you got slightly bigger balls, go into base.ai. I did have something cool to show you guys about Base. Let's see if I've got it here. Where is it? I did keep something for you guys to show you about what Base actually does and how it works. But for me, it is the best AI play. Now, again, like if you don't want to buy Base, what you can buy is Pepe Coin. Because if you buy Pepe Coin, you actually can stake it, and you can stake Pepe Coin and you can earn Base. Now, it's not Pepe the ETH meme. I'll show you which one it is just so you can see it. You can see it on Banter Bubbles. Let's see if we can see it. It was quite a big bubble earlier today. Wow, look at how the market's exploding. So I would be looking at Near or Base.ai. Then in terms of the real world asset play, we spoke about this one last week, and I told you last week to get into the real world asset play. You have to get into the real world asset play. What would I be doing right now in the real world asset play? Number one, I would be buying Mantra. I told you to buy Mantra last week. I said to you, I think it's one of the smartest plays in terms of the layer ones for real world assets. This team is making a lot of waves. There's an under USDY vault launching on Mantra. There is the team is out in Belgium. I think I saw them, and I saw them doing some deals in the UAE. You can't discount this real world asset play. And if you're going to be in the real world asset play, if you're going to get into this real world asset play, again, what would I be buying? I'd be buying Mantra, and I'd be buying 𝗥𝗓𝗧. Why would I be buying 𝗥𝗓𝗧? Because of what they say here. Real world assets could be a $16 trillion opportunity by 2030 or whatever it is, if only they are interoperable across many private and public blockchains. How do institutionals view this challenge? Well, they link it all together with 𝗥𝗓𝗧. So 𝗥𝗓𝗧 becomes the bridge between all of these real world asset chains. And so for me, that's one that I'd definitely be buying. Then again, Rune, so basic, just keep it simple. Rune, cross-chain, multi-chain narrative. The stats for Rune are absolutely incredible. The next one I'd be looking at a gaming play. So Beam or Superfarm. You decide what you want to buy. They're both good. Superfarm's obviously a much lower market cap. If you look at, or it's not called Superfarm anymore. It's called SuperDAO. What are they? They changed. Superverse. Every week it changes, so it's very hard for us to keep up. Okay, so you can buy a Beam at a $1 billion market valuation. And you may be saying, well, what's the upside here? You got 2.5x just to get to the previous high. Or you can buy Superverse. Okay, not Superverse. Okay, because it used to be Supergroup and SuperDAO. And okay, it's $620 million fully diluted. So you can decide which one of those to buy, but just get some exposure into gaming. Then get some exposure into trading. Now, you want exposure into trading. Go with GMX, which is perpetuals, or go with trading on Base, which is Aerodrome. Just pick one of those two and just go into one of them, and then just get yourself a meme coin. I don't care what meme coin you get yourself. Get Brett, get Resistance Dog, get Gummy, get Took. I don't care what meme coin you get yourself. Just get yourself some exposure to meme coins. That's all you need. Don't keep it simple. Keep it simple. This is not the time to be procrastinating and digging and looking for the coin that's going to give you the incremental. Right now, you just need to get into the market, because if you get into the market and Bitcoin does this, which we think it's going to do, so if Bitcoin does this in the next couple of weeks and months, it doesn't matter which altcoins you're holding. And I mean, it matters that you're holding good quality altcoins, but you don't need to look too deep And that's the mistake that people make. They look too deep. They'll end up buying a whole lot of risky altcoins. They don't catch the market top. And then the risky altcoins pull back quicker than their more stable counterparts. And then you'll end up wiping all your gains. Just keep it simple for the next couple of things. Stop procrastinating. Get into the market. That is the most important thing. That is the most important thing. Now, look, if you're not already in the market, and I mean, just tell me whether you want one of these. Who wants one of these? You want one of those? Fuck, I tell you, I drove one in Los Angeles. One of the best drives I've ever driven. This is a fucking car and a half. Now, listen, if you want a Cybertruck, we're giving away a whole lot of Cybertrucks. We're starting off with a Bybit Cybertruck. What you need to do is you need to just go into here. You need to sign up to Bybit, and you need to trade. It's not a trading competition. You just need to sign up and trade. It doesn't matter whether you win, don't win. Every trade you put in is one entry into a raffle. And at the end of, I think it's in September, we give away a Cybertruck. As far as I know, we're the first guys to actually give away a Cybertruck. So you want a Cybertruck, sign up to Bybit, or if you've already got an account on Bybit, just trade. The more you trade, every time you trade, you get an entry into a raffle, and that's it. Someone says US people Blowfin. We are getting a Blowfin Cybertruck also, I think. So just chill. For now, just try and win this Bybit Cybertruck. Also, today when the market went crazy, I closed another one of my trades on Bitfunded. So for those of you who don't know what Bitfunded is, it's a place where you can trade with other people's money, right? So I'll show you how it works. Let's go into how it works. I really want to see if, okay, let me show you how it works. So basically, let's see if we can, let's go bitfunded.com. This is how Bitfunded works. Bitfunded is what we call a prop trading firm. Now, what that means is that you're trading using other people's money. So if you think you're a good trader, and I know there's a lot of you guys who don't have money, but think you're a good trader. If you can prove you're a good trader, and how you do that is by there's a $5,000 challenge now. That's amazing. Okay, so $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, or $100,000 of other people's money. You pay $49.99, $229. Then you got to prove that you're a good trader, and you prove that you're a good trader by closing trades above 8%. If you close trades above 8% for the first part of the challenge and above 5% for the second part of the challenge, in the third part of the challenge, you're actually trading other people's money and you keep up to 90% of the profits, right? Again, you want to sign up, you don't have money, but you think that you're a good trader and you want to trade other people's money, just sign up with Bitfunded over here. We don't need all these links. Just go, Josh, just change it to go bitfunded.com. We don't need all these run link and whatever else. Just bitfunded.com. Go there, sign up. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the best thing that you can do. Remember, if you want to join us in Nashville at the private dinner, sign up to Frontrunners. Otherwise, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, just stop procrastinating. Josh, I'm not finished. It's not finished yet. Let me do my thing. Okay, can I try again now? Okay, so look, keep it simple. See, now I've lost my, I had the rhythm going there. Now you destroy the whole rhythm. You ruined the whole show, bro. He ruined, I mean, it was a good show, right?
Yeah, it was a very good show.
But now it's not such a good show anymore.
No, it is still good, but it missed the...
It missed it, hey? Yeah, it could have been like a good outro in it, but it wasn't. We'll try again tomorrow. Until then, listen, stop procrastinating. Just get in the market. If you miss this entry, you may kick yourself in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. The market goes down slightly, who cares? I will see you guys again tomorrow. Now, Josh, until then, trade well, my friends.